Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Environmental Coffee House. I am Sandy Shellis, and here is my buddy, partner, best friend, Jennifer Hines. It's really good to be here. It was a tough thing to put together tonight because I happened upon the Manatee article a few days ago, and it's really been upsetting me along with other things. And then Jennifer putting together Jim's show was very emotional. And but here I am, and happy Sunday, Jennifer.
Happy Sunday to you too, Sandy. It's so good to be here. We've got a really good show lined up for you guys tonight, although I'm just giving you fair warning. It's a sad show.
Tough
Tonight,
show.
we're going to
Yeah.
talk about the creatures that we share this earth with and how they're doing, in particular the sea creatures, because they're the ones being very adversely affected. So first up to bat from the Tampa Bay Times, just out, Florida manatees are dying at a worrisome rate. Many appear to be starving. Experts blame a loss of seagrass in the Indian River Lagoon. So we thought we'd do a deep dive on seagrass and see what's wrong with the seagrass. So Sandy's going to go through a seagrass brochure and give you an
Mm-hmm.
overview of seagrasses. And then we're going to cover an
Okay.
article from the Coastal Review online. And this is Seagrass Loss, Bad Sign for Water Quality. You bet. Seagrass is a filtration system and it's going away. Then we have one from CNN, just up. Florida's war on weeds is killing fish and supercharging red tide. So that's pretty tough stuff.
Yep.
Then we're actually going to, I was kind of clued into something from a comment that Nostradamus made last Sunday about
Mm-hmm.
vitamin B deficiency in the ocean. So I thought I'd
Water.
take a little look at that. The ocean's mysterious vitamin deficiency, a puzzling lack of thiamine, is disrupting some marine ecosystems.
God.
So that is the basis for
Yep.
ocean life. Pretty
Mm.
serious stuff.
Pretty
Then we're
serious.
going to go back to Florida and talk about the sea turtles. Sea turtles stranded along Florida beaches with mystery illness. Very, very, very sad. Very sad indeed. And then just to show that this is a global thing, not just happening in Florida, we're going to talk about Australia. Existential threat to our survival. See the 19 Australian ecosystems already collapsing. Australia is very much the canary in the coal mine here. And then, if we have time, we're going to cover, because we've been covering Nornical up
Mm-hmm.
in the Arctic in
Yep.
Siberia. Nornical's $2 billion fine will be used to improve the Arctic environment, says Putin. So that's
All
right.
right. A
Very
little good news.
ironic, sort of, in a twisted
Yep.
sort of way.
Well, I have another video, of course.
Do ya?
I put together the news stories, a little vignette, and but what I wanted to do first, I wanted you to tell
Yeah.
everybody what you're in the middle of.
Oh my God, we're in the middle of this crazy blizzard. You cannot believe how blizzardy it is around here.
Oh, they're going to
As a
believe it.
matter, oh
There it
yeah,
is.
no, this is since last night, guys. This is my backyard here in
Look
Boulder,
at that.
Colorado. Check that out.
Check
So
it
we're
out.
in the middle of a blizzard, and I don't have TV anymore, local TV, so I don't even know what the name of this storm is, which is ridiculous. I'm sure it has a big name.
I
But
forgot.
look how much snow we've gotten in one day. The
A
whole place.
lot.
I've been trying to keep my driveway clear. Just like I only have like this one little path that I've been able to sculpt out, but it's kind of amazing.
Well, keep
Spring in
it
the Rockies.
there. Keep it there, Jennifer. Please just keep it there. I don't want to deal with it. As I mean, Oh, Zyla. Thank you, Dee Dee. It's Storm. I'm going to put this on the screen. Zyla, like
Why?
xylophone.
I
We
think
have
it's
a
Xylea. Xylea, right?
Xylea.
Xylea.
I don't
Anyway,
know. I don't know.
it
It's
is still snowing so hard. It's an actual blizzard,
oh,
and it's
jeez.
pretty crazy. Spring in the
Yeah.
Rockies.
Well,
Gotta love
I'm
it.
going to tell you what. Because you have snow, you get the first flush of the day for the snow.
Oh.
Flush it all away, guys. Okay. So we do I have I guess a thing for flush.
It's awesome.
But
I love the
yeah.
environmental coffee
So
house flush.
me too. Liz Netherland, welcome. And John D. and Kim, thank you so much for modding. And Chris Foster from the UK, and Rich Diana, and everybody. Ginny, Suzanne, thank you for being with us. Kay, let's get the show started. I'm going to play the first video to depress the living shit out of you, but it's the news. And we have to be tough. Trust me, I'm not going to cry. I promise. I promise.
Manatees, the gentle giants of Florida's fresh waters.
For a while there, their population was increasing, but unfortunately, the last couple of years have been really hard on manatees.
Jen Lomberg is the Matanzas riverkeeper.
So in 2020, last year, there were over 600 manatee deaths statewide. And that was a pretty substantial uptick from previous years.
But that number more than doubled in just the first 6 weeks of 2021 to 358 deaths.
So that puts us on track for a really bad year for manatee deaths.
Many of those have been in the Indian River Lagoon area near Cape Canaveral, where aquatic grasses are diminishing. Those grasses are what manatees eat and need to survive there.
So the deaths that are high, what's causing them?
Unfortunately, there's a pretty big data gap.
COVID has limited the number of necropsies or animal autopsies state agencies can do.
So we're not entirely sure how the numbers break down as far as ones that have died because of natural causes or boat strikes or starvation or what have you.
Only 33% of the manatees that have died this year have been necropsied, which leaves a mystery swirling around their deaths.
About the number of deaths of manatees. The new data is showing manatees are dying at a much higher rate than we've ever seen. Just in the first 2 months of this year, the state's recorded a staggering 403 manatee deaths. Brevard County, that's the Daytona Beach area, leads with 186 of those deaths. Florida Fish and Wildlife says food scarcity is a contributing factor. If you see an injured or dead manatee, you do want to call FWC.
Well, there's the show. Good night, folks.
Yeah, that's it.
There's the show. I made it cinematic.
Yeah,
It's just
it was beautiful.
It's just so
but sad.
tough. Yes, but we're going to be tough tonight, and we're going to go through it because it's important for people to understand what's going on and not just in their own backyard. And Florida is a place that people go from all over the world, or they did, and they do now because nobody gives a shit about anything down there, masks or whatever. It's a politically fucked up state, but they have ecosystems that are unbelievable, Jen. And I guess we'll get started with the first one, which basically is, I'm going to pull it up, basically is from the Florida, or if you want to, from the Tampa Bay Times. And it will explain a little bit more than that little clip I played. Jen, take it away.
Okay. Well, it's really sad. 432 Florida manatees have already died in 2021, and we're only 3 months into 2021. So that's double the state's 5-year average. And the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has not thoroughly examined many of the dead animals, but one thing is clear: a lot of manatees appear to be starving, which I find just like completely heartbreaking.
Horrible.
So horrible.
But we're
so
not going
to. They're so gentle, and they're so, they're the gentle giants of the sea.
Do you remember when we were kids, the old movie, The Glass Bottom Boat? And how in Florida they have glass bottom boats, and people would you'd see the manatees through the bottom of the boat, but the problem is that they also get killed by the propellers.
Oh, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
all
really
right.
sad.
So let's get through this.
Oh God. So the Indian River Lagoon on Florida's east coast, this is where losses of seagrass are due to persistent algal blooms. Yeah. And basically it's leaving these poor manatees without food. So 179 manatee deaths this year have been recorded in Brevard County. And they say it is a persistent gnawing hunger. I hate being hungry. I can't even stand being hungry for 1 minute. Can you imagine starving in this poisonous ecosystem? So it's a persistent...
the whole world.
I know.
Sorry.
It's so sad. It's a persistent gnawing hunger, and it weakens their ability to go about their normal physical activities. And they've been trying to find food, the manatees, where it traditionally was, but it's not there. And these manatees are severely emaciated. Environmental conditions in portions of the Indian River Lagoon remain a concern. Preliminary information indicates that a reduction in food availability is a contributing factor.
And there
so then they say they're trying to determine the exact cause of death, and that's
okay.
So frickin'
the exact cause of death.
How
about just as simple as this? We're fucking up everything, and Florida is a fucking crane state of building. And where does all that waste go? And the farming, and the sugar cane, and everything. Sorry, but I could do a Florida rant and just go off on it. Because I'm in that mood. I'm just angry about all this. It's just every year is getting worse. And, Jennifer, remember the Gulf oil spill in 2010 was killing the bottleneck dolphins in 2015. And the fucking oil company was fighting. Well, is that really the cause of death? Okay.
Right. And then they say, since we know that seagrass is the primary thing that manatees eat, the very next thing they say after they say, we have no idea what's happening, is the Indian River Lagoon has lost about 46,000 acres of seagrass between 2009 and 2019. So in 10 years, they've lost 46,000 acres of seagrass. Do you have a feeling that might be it? And
Extinction
they say the reason...
Extinction level. I mean, I'm never, this glum, but it's all out there, right in front of our fucking faces.
I know. And the reason that these seagrasses are dying is they're algal blooms, just that
Yep.
are aggravate. Yeah, and they block out the sunlight that the seagrass needs to survive. They've got brown tides fueled by excessive nutrients from stormwater runoff and leaky septic tanks, and all this
Ugh.
stuff reaches the lagoon and it turns into a nasty slime. And these blooms turn the water murky like pea soup.
Ugh.
So this is all happening, a lot of it in the Indian River Lagoon, where there are a lot of manatees. And these are where the recent deaths have been concentrated. It's a central hub for manatees. And
Central
they're
hub.
around, yeah,
Beautiful.
there are around 4,000 manatees along the East Coast. There are not really a lot of these creatures, right? It's not like there are a huge
Not
amount of
anymore.
manatees. Not
No.
anymore.
You know what I didn't get, Jennifer, was the statistic on how many there were. Just like 30, 40 years ago, I didn't get the statistic, I wish I did.
Yeah. I guess we can keep going through this one, but I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they say, just to top it off, they say it could be even worse next year, Cheery thought.
Oh.
This is a trend that, if it were to continue, would be very ominous. If this were to happen in multiple places, it would be a horrific situation. Well, it
already is a horrific situation, you dumb shit. Oh my God. I'm sorry, but I'm not holding back. We've done it. And everybody in the audience, and this is not for wussies.
No. It's very, very
sad.
On
the news. This is everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it is.
Totally.
And
totally.
I'm not, and this is not doomsaying, okay? This is not a doomsaying program. This is a news program from the shit that's in the mainstream media that's going on everywhere in the entire world. What? But, Jennifer, I told you I talked to Jeremy McBurney from XR from UK today. Well, at least these people are out there frickin' doing something to wake the masses up. And evidently it's easier to do in the UK. Jeremy, if you're out there, peace. Oh, and we're gonna have
peace, brother.
Guest. Peace, brother.
Good job.
All right. So the next one we have is actually I really liked the newsy information on it. It is a pamphlet, and I don't know if it's going to be big enough for you guys to see. And I don't think I can make it too big. But it's put out by the Florida Marine Research Institute, and it is a really good document on seagrasses, and it tells you exactly what they are, the flowering plants underwater, what they do, their purpose, and it's in the show notes, everything, and the different kinds of seagrass in Florida, all the different names like Rupia maritima or widgeon grass and all of that. And really, it's such a decent brochure, because they're not just talking about the wonderfulness of the seagrass and how beautiful it is that people don't think about. Who thinks about seagrass? These fucking morons in their boats. Do you think those people think about the seagrass that they're tearing up with their rotors? Fuck no. Okay, the seagrass, the underwater world of Florida seagrasses. And they're talking specifically about the losses in Florida on the brochure. So it's no longer just la la land when you get these things. They talk about the valuable, necessary part. And they are disappearing at alarming rate. Everything is alarming. Dredge and fill projects and degraded water quality are mainly responsible for their precipitous decline. Propeller scarring also damages seagrasses. So not only is it just the manatees with the propellers, it's the seagrass that just pulls it all up. And another little ditty about manatees is, how many get killed in just floodgates? Floodgates. Oh, God.
Wow.
it's just everything we do, Jennifer, and there's nothing. I mean, I'm just as bad. I grew up in a time when probably didn't think about any of this stuff because I don't know if we saw it coming, but my daughter sure does. So they go into scientists of the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission's Florida Marine Research Institute. They're using the GIS technology. They're studying all the changes in the coastal fisheries and habitats, of which the seagrass beds are a major component. By analyzing aerial photographs taken over time, the scientists are able to evaluate the habitat change. And they do talk about the two major bay systems having similar features but dramatically different histories, and the Tampa Bay system and the Ponce Inlet, Daytona Beach, all of the once magnificently beautiful, amazing, beautiful places are now, you know, tear down paradise and put up a parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
horrible.
There you go. And I wish I could play that song without a copyright thing.
I know.
So there's the little, it says Florida seagrass, and it shows you. I look at I don't think I can make it. I can't make it. 1950, 1960, 1970, 80, 90, and 2000. And it talks about the Florida population, and as it grew, the seagrass is gone, is going. So I give them kudos for telling the truth in this brochure that could be, who knows, it could be assessed in tourist places. I really don't know where it would, but it would be a good thing if they did, if the state, but I don't know, Florida's not a good state. I mean, do you really think they're going to put a
No.
beautiful brochure like this out?
No.
I don't know.
And,
I don't know.
seagrasses are a filtration system, so they
Yeah,
clean
they
up
are.
the water and they're being killed by filth. So the next place we're going to go about these seagrasses is to the coast of the sound side of North Carolina, the barrier
Yes.
islands. So you know how North
Beautiful.
Carolina and Cape Hatteras and all those things, they've got a huge giant barrier island. So on the sound side, the protected side, there's a huge amount of seagrass. But so this is the next article. Seagrass loss, bad sign for water quality, the Coastal Review online. North Carolina sounds are losing seagrasses, and this is an indicator of the state's water quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really sad. These underwater grasses and vegetation play roles in keeping this estuary system water healthy by providing habitat, food, shelter for aquatic life, as well as absorbing and recycling nutrients and filtering sediment. So the seagrass keeps everything healthy. A lot of you guys who have aquariums or something, maybe you have some little vegetation and seagrasses in
Oh,
your
I did.
aquarium.
I used to have
Yeah,
7 aquariums. I'm one of those suckers. I couldn't just have one. I had 7, and everything had to be maintained. And just like these 6 cats at my house, that's a
yeah,
cat sanctuary now.
yeah. So there's an acronym, SAV, submerged aquatic vegetation. So they're referring to this. The seagrass acts as a barometer of the condition of the water. SAV is extremely sensitive to water quality, including nutrients, sediment, pollution. And there's a huge decrease in acreage in North Carolina as well. So this is pervasive. This is in Florida. This is through the Carolinas,
Pervasive.
in the estuaries. These things grow in kind of calm water, not on the side that gets the waves, right? Let's see. This is a valued ecosystem and should be monitored and assessed. Duh, right? Here's some data. They say that North Carolina has about 100,000 acres of seagrass, and the largest acreage is on the east the largest acreage on the East Coast. Okay, so North Carolina has the biggest acreage of seagrass on the East Coast, but they're seeing that there's also in North Carolina a huge decrease, over 5,000 acres between 2006 and 2013. So not such a huge loss as in Florida, but it's also going down.
Yep.
You know,
Devastating.
Yeah, this is all throughout the Outer Banks. That's the coastal,
I've been there. It's beautiful.
barrier. Yeah, Roanoke Island.
Jennifer, I have a question. Have you been down there?
Yeah,
and
I have.
And what was disturbing to me when I went was that the beaches, I had never been to a beach where the car drove on it. And everybody was backed up. And I thought, my gosh, what does that do to any kind of life down there in the sand and just and there's
like the clams and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of beaches where people just say, oh, it's great, we can back up right to the water.
Right. Well, did you go down to Nag's Head, Sandy? Did you go down there?
We had Harleys and rode all over everywhere.
Yeah.
And yep.
Did you notice when you were going down these barrier islands, Nag's Head to Cape Hatteras, the houses are they're waiting to get hit by a hurricane. They're just basically, that Outer Banks barrier island area is really degrading, right? They're losing a lot of it.
Our friends just left. The friends we had, they moved to Maine. They built a place kind of off grid in Maine. They left. They were right down there. We stayed down there, and we actually rented Harleys down there, so we didn't have to drag ours. And we rode all over Kitty Hawk and all. I mean, it's a beautiful area, but it's going to be underwater. Oh, hi, Mark Roche.
It is.
Mark Roche just said hugs to Buddy. That's the new cat. Hugs to Buddy. Jennifer, how's your kitty? We can just do that real quick.
My kitty's fine. She was on my lap in the beginning of the show. Then during during the video, she decided to get off.
Animals are life.
And I know.
When we're empaths and we feel animals and we feel all this stuff, it's been hitting me this week. Holy crap.
Yeah. And the thing is about animals, they are conscious beings. They are sentient, aware, awake beings. They feel emotions. They feel pain. They have their own very highly tuned awareness, right? And they feel it. The manatees feel it, the turtles feel it. All of these creatures are experiencing agony due to everything that's happening. And it's so sad. It's just incredible. So let's see. I'm looking through this coastal review online to see if there's anything more that we can extract from it.
Tell me what you want me to pull up. They're talking about
I'm just in that coastal review right at the end. It's kind of like there's such lack of urgency. It's hard to even read it because it's like, documenting 2 intervals 6 years apart, coupled with lack of knowledge of SAP baseline historical dynamics at the regional scale, a forecast would be premature. Fuck you.
You're killing me, Jennifer.
Honestly, I'm trying to read something real, and I'm just fucking lost in this.
I know.
I don't even know what to say.
All right, so we're done with this one.
We're done with that.
We're done with this one. Hey, Tina, she grew up. She said they called them sea cows in Florida. Yeah, that's of course sea cows. They are the sea cows, only they're not in factory farms. All right. I pretty much am doing mostly vegetarian, and I'm really proud of myself.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm doing good that
way.
Good
for you.
Anyway, so we have the next one, the war on weeds. Not the war on weed. The war.
No, not the war on weed.
God,
definitely
no, if
not.
Jennifer and I
no
cannot
war on
live
weed.
through the war on weed. No, I don't think so. So
not in Colorado.
This one, I know. I remember being there. Florida's war on weeds is killing fish and supercharging red tide. Now, this was from last year, but what the hell? It's like in 1 year, it didn't all of a sudden get fixed. So this is Lake Okeechobee, and they were talking about the hunters and naturalists and activists. They're disagreeing because these helicopters and the armada of airboats fan out across Florida's freshwaters to spray tank after tank of poison without the millions of gallons of herbicide poured into the rivers and lakes. Officials say the state would be choked with weeds. Bullshit! But a growing chorus of fishermen and hunters, naturalists and activists disagree. And who's to say that they're weeds unless they're going to overcome? Let's see what it says here. They are convinced that what started as sensible navigation and flood control has turned into a $1 million a month chemical addiction that is killing Florida's natural state. My God. That's what I just can't fucking stand Florida. I am so
sick of it. Sick of it.
I'm worked up tonight. So to gather evidence, a home builder, this guy, Mike Nepler, he spent over a year chasing the spray boats. Good for him. With a camera drone. A modern day David taking aim at a giant. When he captures a state contractor spraying weed killer on live birds or baby alligators or illegally blowing herbicide across wetlands with the fan of an airboat, the videos become stones in his Facebook sling. His Goliath is Florida's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, better known as FWC, which bats away. Yeah, fuck, we care. Yeah, this is what they are. Fuck, we care. Yeah, the fuck we care. Boy, this is a rated R show tonight.
It
herbicide, is, but I don't care. Good. So what? Don't show it to your grandkids or your kids. Anyway, herbicide is sprayed from an airboat on Lake Okeechobee. See how they do it? Ugh. Oh, $1 million a month. And I'm sure that their governor, I bet, what's his name, Ron DeSantis? What a fucking moron he is. He's probably all in and cozy with the pesticide industry down there. I can bet anything. So, but anyway, no, this they take mistreatment of wildlife, they say, seriously, and our contractors are thoroughly trained and monitored, wrote Kip Froelich, director at FWC's Division of Habitat and Species Conservation, on Facebook. So basically, the guy outed them. He whistleblowed this fucking bunch of creepy bullshit thing. And so some clips show the plume of weed killer following birds as they flee. But according to the FWC, the video in question does not show any inappropriate behavior. Wildlife was not targeted or harmed. The treatment will benefit native plants and animals. If I had a bullshit detector button right now, I'd be pushing it. Bullshit detector. That is bullshit. That's bullshit. I know it's not true, but the more viral videos only brought more scrutiny, controversy, and eventually a rare concession from the FWC that the herbicide problem had gone too far. Duh, you think? Despite what you hear on social media, we care about the health of the fish in the wildlife and ecosystems. No, you don't. You care about how much money the state's paying you. We also believe that we would like to see a future that doesn't rely on herbicides. Really? With that, while announcing an open call for new ideas, this guy described a plan to keep a closer eye on contractors by putting GPS-enabled sensors on spray nozzles to reduce the amount and location of every squirt of poison. Poison. We have poisoned everything, Jennifer. We have poisoned of everything. So what it was this is actually pretty good here, this one. It started as public outcry over a few sprayed animals, now has exploded, or last year, into a statewide debate over a mounting environmental crisis. that and reliance on weed killers is a major piece in Florida's toxic puzzle. As the FWC focuses on the alleged misuse of herbicides, opponents are pointing out the damage that the spraying does when it is used exactly as planned, while fast-growing invasive plants outcompete some native species like the seagrass, Jennifer, that we were talking about. The lush aquatic life that serves as the liver and kidneys of Florida's circulatory system. Plants like water hyacinth and water lettuce can clog navigation channels and tangle in propellers. But they also are natural filters that help clean all the pollution flowing out of farms, golf courses, and neighborhoods. Oh my gosh. So they're saying it's bad, but it's good because it's green. And it's probably also a carbon sink. So let's see. They said this shit, since 2013, hundreds of square miles of these wetland filters have been sprayed with dozens of different herbicides at the cost of over $100 million. All the water that comes out of this creek and out of that canal used to be filtered before it entered the lake by 7 miles of submerged grass, said pro fisherman Brandon Metlock as he motors his bass boat across Lake Okeechobee. That grass is now gone. So they are saying, they're among the critics who argue that by poisoning these plants and letting them sink to the bottom to rot, the FWC is only adding oh my God, this gets worse as you go on. The guy said he was just in tears. He says when he saw Grassy Island on Lake Kissimmee disappear, he was in tears. It was one of the most phenomenal fisheries on the planet. So all this shit is a thick layer of fertilized muck that's been building in Florida's wetlands for generations. When pollution-rich floodwater is released into the sea, or when hurricanes churn and spread that muck layer across the Gulf of Mexico, scientists believe it serves as a powerful booster shot for naturally occurring toxic algae blooms, including the red tide. So this is like showing just how screwed up all this is. It says, between our use of nutrients in the development of Florida, warming seas, and climate change, are we poking the bear? Asks Mike Parsons, a marine scientist and a red tide specialist at Florida Gulf. He explains that human activity does not start a red tide. They've been recorded in Gulf for centuries, but the modern blooms are becoming longer and more destructive thanks to all the man-made runoff coming out of Florida and down the Mississippi. And we know human-contributed nutrients can affect a coastal red tide, and we must expand our data and monitoring efforts. But Jennifer, the only thing is that, yes, expand the monitoring efforts and all, but is it too late, or can we save what's left? Are they going to dredge the whole bottom? I mean, this is hundreds of miles of waterways.
Absolutely. It's so freaking scary. The whole thing. I mean, it gets very sad.
And this was a CNN article, because as much as we say, Clinton News Network or, CNN, blah, 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 they've got the money to hire some really good journalists and they give them, with articles like this, they give them editorial license. And they have, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to say that it's a terrible thing to read from CNN like some people. I'm no purist. I think that this is a very well written and well researched article, and kudos. In 2017, a few months after Hurricane Irma blew across the lakes like Kissimmee and Okeechobee, hundreds, I remember this, I reported on it, hundreds of dead fish, sea turtles, dolphins, and manatees. Okay, this is where you have to keep the tears from coming. Washing up on Florida beaches. As the bloom lingered for 16 months, the state lost millions in tourism and real estate deals. Oh, I shed me a tear for that. Red tide kills fish and animals that wash up on beaches and can cause illness in humans too. People have been warned not to swim in the water. Don't eat the seafood, breathe, or anything near it. So basically, you get the whole drift here. Let's see. I'm going to go down a little bit and see what Rod. Let's see. In August last year, Ron DeSantis revived Florida's Red Tide Task Force after 15 years of dormancy and filled it with 11 scientists well, that's promising, and specialists as the legislature promised nearly $5 million in funding. Whether they report a definitive link in toxic algae blooms and Florida spraying policies remains to be seen. Well, that's interesting, I would say, because that means that 15 years, they had Rick Scott, the criminal, the one that the governor that they elected, even though he bilked the federal government through his healthcare company out of like millions of dollars, and morons in Florida elected him. I'm interested to follow up on this and see what has been, because this is a little bit older, and what has been done. Now here's a guy. He look at him. He's out there. He drives his boat on Lake Okeechobee, where he says the submerged grass used to help filter the water. So they pretty much, they got their information. He says we can't boot the 21 million people out of Florida, okay? All the transplants, voice high with emotion. We're not going to stop growing sugar or mining for phosphorus fertilizer. But the one thing we can do is stop spraying and killing the filter. So let's just do that. So I hope we can follow up on what is happening with this, because that isn't it's right. They're not going to stop the other stuff. But if they can stop spraying, at least they get a barrier. A little bit of the seagrass comes back, maybe. I don't think that's, a bad way to go, because they recognize they can't fight big business and they can't fight that. But maybe the herbicides, yeah. And there you go, Jen.
Wow.
So why don't we go on and you take it away, because this next one, and we've been 45 minutes, and we got a lot more to go over, and we see that you're all out there, but we can. This one was interesting. Jen's going to take this one and explain to you why this next one is as interesting as it is.
Right. Well, I noticed when reviewing the chat in our last Sunday night that Nostradamus, one of our members here in Environmental Coffee House, comes to a lot of and he might even be here tonight, I don't know. But he said, have you heard about, and remember we even put that question up when Jim and I were talking. He wanted to know, had we heard about the ocean's mysterious vitamin B deficiency? Right. And I hadn't heard of it. So I researched it afterwards, and I'm just going to allude to it. This is a very complex article. It's very long. I'm just going to summarize a little bit of it, but let you know, vitamin B is the source. I mean, you need it for life, right? This is one of the building blocks of life. They give it to pregnant women to help build good babies, right? The ocean's mysterious vitamin B deficiency, a puzzling lack of thiamine, is disrupting some marine ecosystems. And this is still kind of early on, so they don't think they have the definitive why this is happening. But in early 2020, fish hatcheries in California did start noticing abnormal behavior and high mortality in their salmon fry, we could stand to lose any more salmon, not.
Yeah, that's
leading
another
to
whole issue.
Leading to concerns that a disruption in marine ecosystem may be affecting the transmission of thiamine, a critical nutrient from females to their eggs, and subsequently to juvenile fish. So this is a super long article, but there's some really good points in here. that I'm going to go through. You might want to just show the pictures, Sandy, because you won't be able to follow any of the
Okay.
things because I'm just going to pick and choose, but just pick some nice
Okay.
pictures and show them. But hatchery
Okay.
pig workers at the Coleman National Fish Hatchery in Red Bluff, California, were first alerted to a problem in their raceways where they saw salmon fry swimming erratically and lying on their sides. Not a good sign. And they're like, what the heck is going on? And they finally found that this was a thiamine vitamin B1 deficiency, but they're not sure yet what is causing it, but it's pervasive. This first fish hatchery was able to temporarily reverse the problem with its fish by bathing and injecting them with thiamine. But since thiamine is synthesized in the environment and passes through the food chain, there are concerns that something is amiss in the marine environment that's ultimately disrupting the production and transmission of this critical vitamin. So I'm going to zip down to an area that I saw way down here.
And I'll zip right along with you.
Yeah. It's very eye-opening that the lack of a simple vitamin can cause complete collapse of populations in vast areas. Yeah. In California, thiaminase has become a lead suspect in the case of the Sacramento River salmon. Due to recent changes in the surface water temperature, the coastal array of forage species has shifted. The role of thiaminase
about this? Oh my God.
I know.
Wow.
The role of thiaminase in the mystery has become a dividing point in the research community. Some scientists believe the enzyme is a primary cause of thiamine losses in higher organisms, while others suspect a more complicated story is playing out in which thiaminase production or thiamine production across wide areas has been interrupted. So there's an interruption of this transfer of vitamin B, and it's causing death in and they don't have the answer yet, but they have seen this. It's very pervasive. And if fishies cannot develop, and if they're swimming on their sides and dying, clearly the whole population is going to crash, right?
Oh my God.
So they don't have the ultimate answer yet why this is happening, but you can be pretty sure that it's something we're doing. California's Chinook have been declining for decades despite conservation measures aimed at improving their freshwater habitat. Now it seems that thiamine deficiency is worsening their plight. Adult fishes began returning to the middle reaches of the Sacramento rivers and its tributaries to spawn last spring and summer. And at the hatcheries that collect and manually combine their eggs and sperm, young fish again showed signs of vitamin B1 shortage. And they can't live without it. Most hatcheries on the river have treated the problem by bathing the fry in a thiamine solution and also injecting adult females with thiamine, which is amazing.
It's kind of crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah. That would all but pin the deficiency on thiaminase, the thiamine destroying enzyme. So there's this enzyme called thiaminase, and it destroys thiamine. However, a deeper rooted cause could be at work, and only more research will tell if an environmental shift has flipped off the switch on thiamine production or impeded its movement through the food web. More questions will surely follow. How many species are being affected? Is the problem getting worse? Yes. And if humans cause the problem, can we reverse it? So at least the very last sentence, they query if possibly humans have caused the problem and can we reverse it. But it's worth a look. Keep your eye on vitamin B deficiencies in sea life and see what comes up, because it's something to watch. This is just unfolding right now.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're at 52
Yeah.
minutes. Let's move on and just say hi to everybody that they're having a pretty good chat out there. So thank you,
Good.
Facebook, and thank you, YouTube, for joining us. And Jen, you want to take the sea turtle? Another
Yeah.
lovely, wonderful bit of good news.
Oh, that's also another sad thing. So sad. This is from Florida today. So back to Florida, our favorite state, not. Sea turtles stranded along Florida beaches with mystery illness. That sounds pretty rough. Sea turtles along the Florida coast from Jacksonville, which is right at the top, most north in Florida, to Brevard, are falling sick, and wildlife experts are working hard to find out why. The turtles, primarily green sea turtles, have been coming ashore from the oceans and lagoons in increasing numbers over the past couple of weeks. They've been taken to the zoo, to a special turtle rehab center, and they have the Brevard Zoo Sea Turtle Healing Center.
See, these are beautiful people. There are
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Everybody's here.
Yeah. There's not one specific ailment. Most of them are stranding from the ocean and presenting with lethargy and low glucose. Remember,
my
it
God.
could have gotten very cold. They could have gotten
Oh,
stunned
it
by the
was
cold
cold.
as well.
I read a lot
Yeah.
today that yeah, the cold has done a lot, and it hurt the seagrass, and it hurt the
Yeah.
manatees. This freaky weather.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's right. The vortex, the
Yeah.
Arctic is dying, and the Arctic is coming and sitting on our heads. It should go
Oh, the
and be in
good
the
news doesn't
Arctic.
stop.
Good news doesn't stop. Don't
Well,
watch us if you're
actually,
depressed. You'll get more
well,
depressed watching us.
yeah, we need to bring Kristen Reynolds back from Jan's administrator for the Facebook page. She's so inspiring as far as making us feel better when we're looking at all this
Yeah.
predicament stuff that hurts.
Yeah. But once they find these sea turtles, they try and rehabilitate them at this center. The workers collect all the data on the animals, and they take care of them. And most times, a sea
Wonderful.
turtle is able to be released after 3 or 4 months. So that's how long it takes to rehab
Takes.
these sea turtles. They're in bad shape.
They probably name them.
Yeah. Most of the time, they need good nutrition. See that again, right, Sandy?
Yes.
Time to
Humans and
rest. So
animals.
they're exhausted, they're hungry, and after they get a good standing, they release them. They'll probably just get hungry and stressed again. But it's kind of a feel-good story in that at
Mhm.
least people are doing something about it,
Absolutely.
So they're talking about, one day 9 turtles were taken in by the healing center at the zoo after being found stranded along the coast. And in the grand scheme of things, that's a lot of turtles to come to their facility in just a day. And
That's
the
a
thing
lot.
is, they're covered in barnacles, algae, dirt, and sponges. They're just covered with all sorts of things,
Sea
nasty
gross
growths.
plastic. I saw a video today. It was showing the seals and people that are up there literally cutting nets and all this shit off seals. I mean, it's sad that we have to be doing this, but these
I
people that do
know.
this are beautiful people that volunteer to do this work. There's
These
volunteers.
are
They
the
go there. They go there. They go to these areas where these populations live, and they take care to try to help the animals, but it's an overwhelming task. You cannot, it's like a little something, but every little something does add up to a big something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Some of these turtles are carrying up to 15% extra from their total body weight in extra mass. and they're
Jesus
also
Christ.
hypoglycemic. I mean, that's how much extra mass. They're like things growing on them, and they don't have enough food, and they're tired, and they're hypoglycemic, and they're starving, and they have low blood sugar. And it's really, really sad. There's a
It
picture
is.
somewhere in there of a sea turtle with all these growths all over him. You might see that. Um,
Oh, I don't
a
know
little
if I
further
see it.
down.
Oh, yeah,
Each
there he
turtle
is.
can have its own comorbidities and health issues, which complicates things further for scientists who want to pinpoint exactly what the common factor is. Well, the common factor is they're sick and they're dying, and they say that they've had a few that have died, but the rest are hanging in there. The biggest thing for them is
Mm.
resources. They run out of supplies, these volunteers do, to do blood draws and to do laboratory work, and it's a big burden. So there are a dozen sites around Florida where these sea
Oh,
turtles are kept in captivity.
this
And
makes me want to
then it's
cry
a
looking
little
at this
thing
guy.
how you can help. And it gives little things. If you live in Florida, if you spot a sea turtle, the number to call. And if you want to donate,
188
yeah,
404 3922.
right. And if you want to donate to the Sea Turtle Healing Center, you can do that at the
Okay.
website that they show. But if you love sea turtles, please read this article that'll be in the show notes from Florida
Yes.
today.
Yes. So we've gone through a lot of species issues, and it is not just here, it's Australia. And that is that article where we don't have enough time. It's from February 25th. We don't have enough time to go through the whole thing, but Jennifer, it we could tag team. I think we wanted to just
Sure,
show it, and there
sure.
was a lot of information tonight. This was an existential threat to our survival. See the 19 Australian ecosystems already collapsing,
No.
and they're down there. Look at this, Jen. Let's look at uh, the Great Barrier Reef, Shark
No.
Bay, mangroves. I mean, we don't even have to read this. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, we could look at the pictures and we know. It says we define collapse as the state
Poor
where ecosystems,
Australia.
eh, poor every
Australia is
species,
really in a rough way. They are totally
like you said.
the um, the canary in the coal mine. Um, and
Jesus.
it's pervasive. It's throughout all of Australia and even in Tasmania. Here are the 19 eco centers. Do you want to split them up, Sandy? That's where all
Okay,
the
let me get down. I
right
got to go down
right
more, right?
below the map. See the map of Australia with all the little circles with numbers on it?
Yeah, I got to go down, but
Go
I don't
down
want to
there
make
and then
everybody
past
dizzy.
it.
Okay, this
That's
article's
okay.
heavy from the conversation. It's
So
heavy as shit. All right,
very heavy,
here
very
we
heavy,
go.
because we're talking about a whole continent. So we don't have to talk about the ecosystems in the interest of time,
No,
but here are some of the ecosystems that are falling in Australia.
collapsing.
Number one, the Great Collapsing, the Great Barrier Reef. Number two, the Australian tropical savannas. Number three, the mangrove forest, the Gulf of Carpentaria. Number
Carpentaria.
four, number four, wet tropical rainforest, North Queensland. Number five, western central arid zones. Number six, Georgina giddy woodlands in central Australia. Number seven, Ningaloo Reef, northern western Australia. All the reefs are collapsing due to coral bleaching.
Good to humans.
Yeah, go humans.
Go humans.
Number eight, Shark Bay seagrass communities, Western Australia. They've got it too, the seagrass degradation. Number nine, Murray Darling River Basin waterways. Number 10, Murray Darling River Basin river line. Do you want to take it 11 through the end?
No, you're doing great.
Number 11, montane and subalpine forests, South Australia, New South Wales, and Victorian Highlands. Number 12, Great South Reef kelp forests,
Oh,
Southern Australia.
I'll
Number
just moan and
13,
groan.
yeah, you can moan and groan.
I'll moan and groan.
Mediterranean type forests and woodlands. Number 14, Monaro tablelands, southeastern highlands. Number 15, snowpatch herb fields, Australian Alps.
Oh, moan and groan.
Number 16, mountain ash forests, Victorian Central Highlands. Number 17, Gondwana conifer forest, Tasmania. Number 18, sub-Antarctic tundra, Mascari Island. And number 19, East Antarctic moss beds, Windmill Islands,
Oh,
Bestfold Hills.
what to do about
So,
it?
yeah, once you take
Awareness,
that and how much you want
anticipation, and
to do.
action. So they're really not, they're saying awareness of what's important, anticipation of what's coming down the line, and action to stop the pressures or deal with the impacts, which is just saying pretty much we're fucked and this is what's happening, got to deal with it. Future ready. Wow. Pretty heavy, Jen. Pretty heavy.
Pretty heavy,
Yeah.
pretty heavy. And let me just read you the very last paragraph. Our lives
I'm going to
depend
go
on it.
all the way down.
The multiple ecosystem collapses we have documented in Australia are a harbinger for environments globally. As we said, it's the canary in the coal mine. The
Yeah.
simplicity of the 3A's is to show people can do something positive, either at the local level of a land care group or at the level of government departments and conservation
Okay.
agencies. Our lives and those of our children, as well as our economies, societies, and cultures, depend on it. We simply cannot afford any further delay.
Okay, so people in, I guess, Australia have to mobilize and get rid of their conservative moron government and really work on no more coal mines and and climate initiatives, and we can try to get it to happen, which is what Extinction Rebellion is doing and what all kinds of people are doing. Fridays for Future is coming up. There are a lot of things you can do. It may not be the result at the end that we want, but getting there and the fight is worth it, I think, for all
Yeah.
those wonderful people, the youth, the young people in the Fridays for Future, Jennifer. So what do you
Yeah.
want to, let's segue to the Arctic because we're over time and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. We have a little feel good thingy about
Kind of
for this.
ironic, right?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
ironic.
It is ironic. So let's pull it up and tell you, since we have been following this for since it happened. And now Nornickel
Yeah.
says, well, we can give you the background where the big spill. Jennifer, why don't you give them the background of what happened?
Yeah. Well, there's a town in Siberia. It's a very dirty town due to all the industry and Nornickel. The town is called Norilsk, and Nornickel is the biggest. It's kind of a mining town. There's nothing else to do up there. It's in Siberia. It's very, very dirty. Over the years, the Arctic's very sensitive. Well, it's also built on the tundra and it's built on the permafrost, and the permafrost is thawing, and it gave way underneath this ancient 35-year-old giant tank of diesel, and the thing ruptured and dumped into the rivers, and it dumped especially into the Abernaya River, and the diesel flowed directly into the Arctic Ocean, from Norilsk into the Arctic Ocean.
Yeah, it was
And
terrible.
then, yeah, so that's kind of the background. This happened last year, and
Yes,
Sandy
and we
and I've been
reported.
following it.
Absolutely. So you can see it. But now there is money in the fine. We talked about the fine, and Putin says they're going to improve the Arctic environment.
Right.
Russian.
So
he
Norilsk
said-
got fined $2 billion.
Oh, yeah.
Bucks.
So they must make a lot of money. They're paying it.
Yeah.
And they are supposed to be doing now, let's see here. I don't want to go there. Oh, okay, here. With satisfaction, the company's fulfilling its obligations, but they have been criticized for the sulfur dioxide emissions in the region, so it plans to spend $5.5 billion on environmental projects by 2030, including $600 million collecting Soviet-era waste. My Lord, what kind of garbage is up there? It must be disgusting wasteland. The world's biggest producer of palladium and a leading player in nickel set aside $2 billion to cover the potential fine months before the court ruling. So there you go. They had all these things happening about Nornickel, and now they're going to pay Jennifer. And we're going to end up our show with saying it's a good thing, at least, that there will be some cleanup up there in Siberia, and we'll follow it. We will follow it.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for coming. Jennifer, thank you. This was a good show. I feel it was cathartic.
Was a good show.
It was helpful to get this stuff out. Jim, I want to read this. Fridays is the FFF is Fridays for Future. If everyone wanted to know, worldwide strike, as I said, March 19th, this Friday. Postings, do videos, and get out and protest. Do whatever you need to do for your comfort. So maybe I'll be out somewhere. I'll see what's going on if I feel good enough to join with anybody, And thank you, Jim, for that. And thank you, everyone. All right? Thank you so much. John Lodge, why am I so nervous? Please explain to me why I can't sleep. I close my eyelids, sheltering in the dark. I try to hide. If you leave me on my own, I'm worried I could lose my way. We could end with that. And thank you, everyone, again. Jen, until we meet again, my friend, until we meet again, we are out.
I see everything around me changing again and again. Can't stay in this dead end relation, 'cause it's fading to gray.